But the problem is he's even more annoying than me. I know you don't think it's possible, but let me see if I can make the case. Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going to see if Ryan Fisher, who's essentially a mini version of Coach Greg, we're going to get into his bike riding attitude and all that stuff, of which I personally respect, but I understand guys in the road, they're going to hate this guy. But what I really dislike is when he perhaps purposely misrepresents the science. He tries to make it look like he knows what he's talking about, because after all, the guy is an elite level athlete, one of the best CrossFitters in the entire world. But just because you're good at something doesn't mean you know jack shit. And so by the end of the video, I'm going to prove that he doesn't know what he's talking about, or prove that he's a liar, one of the bunch. And so you can take your pick which it is. Ever see someone lift a ton but not look the part? Here's the science. Training for strength and training for muscle size hypertrophy aren't the same.
Have you guys ever seen anybody in Olympics who are like 120 pounds and lifting massive weights? Like the really small weight class? And you're like, how the fuck did that guy just lift that weight?
Yeah, I'm thinking that guy or girl has amazing genetics and trained harder than last time.
And he literally looks like he could hula hoop a Cheerio. He's like the tiniest human ever.
And remember, he's just poking fun. Skinny people, they can't hula hoop Cheerios, more like Fruit Loops or perhaps donuts.
Right? Like, how is he not bigger? Because he's lifting under 5 repetitions.
And so he states the reason for this is because they're lifting under 5 repetitions. And so if I were to take Lance Armstrong or any Tour de France rider, perhaps marathon runner, and they trained all above 5 repetitions, would that mean they would all look like professional bodybuilders? Is the secret doing more than 5 reps? Anyone who trains properly above 5 repetitions, you're going to get jacked. Anyone who trains below 5 repetitions, you're not going to have any muscle. Or could it more likely be the fact that certain bodies are made for Olympic lifting and others are made for hypertrophy? Are some people more genetically gifted for strength and some more genetically gifted for muscle size? I've seen IFBB pro professional bodybuilders who can't deadlift 405 pounds. But to the same extent, there are small girls who can deadlift way more than this.
When you guys do singles and doubles and triples, you're not getting bigger.
Really? If you do singles, doubles, or triples, you're not getting bigger. And so if you train to the gym for 10 years and you're on a 10x3 program, you're doing sets of 1 to 3, perhaps with 1 rep in reserve, you're not going to get any muscle. You're just going to get really strong and not put on any muscle whatsoever. Have you ever seen Olympic lifters that actually look amazing? And so I'm looking up this Olympic lifter, Lee Dai-yin. The guy weighs between 81 and 89 kilograms, just under 200 pounds. And the guy is shredded. He's literally peeled to the bone, could compete in a classic physique competition. He's clean and jerking 440 pounds over his head. Yet he's ripped, shredded. Do you really think he got all those muscles by doing sets above 5? Or do you not think he trains like every other Olympic powerlifter? The difference is genetics. His genetics allowed him to put on a shit ton of muscle and lift heavier than last time while being shredded, while other people don't have those genetics.
If you are creating a muscular stimulus, it's just not nearly as impactful as like 5 to 30 repetitions.
And so if you do set of 4, you will not build as much muscle as if you do a set of 30. This is what he's saying. He's saying between 5 and 30, that's how you build muscle. Between 35 and 85% of your 1 rep max. And so if you're lifting 86% of your 1 rep max, then it's too heavy to put on muscle effectively. Well, for some reason, when I had 86% of my 1 rep max, I do sets of 10 with that on my deadlift. And so for some people, you can lift more than 85% and clearly get above 5 repetitions. And for other people, they're really, really strong at 1 repetition, but you lighten the weight and they can only barely get 2. And so some people better at reps, some people better at maxes. Myself, I'm much stronger at doing multiple repetitions. After all, had the Guinness World Record in the deadlift. In comparison, I can't deadlift 1,000 pounds, but if the weight's a bit lighter, I can continue to do more repetitions. And so the magic apparently stops at 30. If you do sets of 31, you're not building muscle at this point, you're just toning. Is that what we're gonna hear next? If 31 reps is toning. Now, think of it this way. If I were given the choice to do all sets of 30 versus all sets of 4, I don't know if doing sets of 30 would build more muscle than doing sets of 4. It depends on how close you can get to failure. How many of you think you can do sets of 30 repeatedly and go to failure? Do you know how hard it is to do a set of 30 to failure? That is very hard. In comparison, doing a set of 4, relatively easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, done. Might take you 10, 15 seconds, but doing a set of 30 could be at a minute plus. And so please don't think that there's a certain rep minimum that you need to do or a certain rep maximum that you need to do. Also, there's a big difference between doing a third of 30 as fast as you possibly can, perhaps partials on a leg press. You could perhaps do 30 partial reps in 15 seconds. In comparison, you could do a set of 4 and take a minute. Depends on how fast you're doing the concentric versus the eccentric. And so to simply make a blanket statement saying 1, 2, or 3 reps, you're not going to get any size. And doing 5 to 30, you're going to get a ton of size. It makes no sense. And so really 5 to 30. It's a really big range. Does anyone think there isn't a difference between the feelings you get when you do a set of 5, which is very heavy, and a set of 30, which is very light? He's literally saying between 35 and 85% of your 1 rep max. How many of you think you're going to build muscle optimally, continuously going to the gym, doing 35% of your 1 rep max? It's very light. For the most part, it's probably somewhere in the middle. And so there's nothing wrong with saying, this is where I think you should train for the most part, but you need to be open to doing all forms of repetition, time under tension, intensity levels, and so on.
You guys watch like Ronnie Coleman or Jay Cutler or C-Bum or whoever. They're not in the gym doing singles or doubles or triples.
Does he even know who Ronnie Coleman is? Has he never watched this man lift? Lightweight, baby! Ain't nothing but a peanut. Lightweight! Has he not seen him deadlift 800 pounds for a set of 2? Ronnie Coleman 800 deadlift. HD, Ronnie Coleman. And so I guess this video only had 9.3 million views. And so perhaps Ryan Fisher, who likes to ride bicycles and used to do CrossFit, perhaps he's never heard of this. Perhaps he never knew that Ronnie Coleman was in fact a competitive powerlifter. He's doing a set of 800 for 2. You can't put on muscle. Ronnie Coleman, perhaps the largest bodybuilder of all time, considering his height and weight. Oh, you can't build muscle doing sets of 2. Remember his biggest regret in life was only squatting that weight for 2 reps? Perhaps it was his biggest regret because he was speaking to Ryan Fisher and he said you need to do 5 to 30 reps to put on muscle. Or do you think he can put on muscle with less than 5 reps? Which do you think it is? Oh, and no, I've never seen Chris Bumstead go for a 1 rep max. Never seen him get injured. Never seen him try to go past failure. Remember that squat video at about 600 pounds, 6 plates on each side? And so do not see Chris going for a 1 rep max. He squats into the hole. He tries to get out of it, can't do it, goes back into the hole, and lo and behold, he gets out of it, somehow figures out a way to get it up. And if you can figure out a way to get it up, harder than last time, for the downstairs. It might not help you get that 1 rep max in the squat, but it certainly may help you get harder than last time for all your bedroom needs. Code Greg, 10% off. Click the link in the description. And so, although he doesn't do them right now, it's more so because he doesn't want to get injured. It's not the fact that it doesn't build muscle. It's the fact that there's too much risk of injury. And so there's nothing wrong with the message to say, hey, try not to do sets lower than 5 if your goal is to build on muscle, as you don't want to increase your risk of getting injured. Perhaps you don't want to ego lift in the gym, but to simply say the reason why Olympic lifters are 120 pounds and can dance inside of a Cheerio is because they lift with sets below 5 reps. It makes no sense.
You're always watching them just fucking rep, fill the muscle with blood, right?
And so, no, Ronnie Coleman and C-Bum were not just going to the gym doing rep, filling the muscle with blood. That makes it sound like they're doing a bunch of pump reps, junk volume. Most people who bodybuild are not doing sets anywhere near to 30. For the most part, I'd say most people are doing somewhere between 8 and 12 repetitions. My personal advice is to stick between 8 and 15, and that if you want to go higher, that's also good, but to please use proper form and not to ego lift in the gym. The reason I don't preach going heavy is because you're more likely to get injured, and if you're injured, how are you going to train effectively? Much less likely to put on muscle, and so please be careful of lifting heavy. But, of course, you can get muscle lifting heavy. I've in fact lifted in more powerlifting competitions than I have in bodybuilding. If you have genetics for both strength and size, you're going to be able to do it.
If you guys look at like a Russian, a Bulgarian, or like any sort of Olympic weightlifting program, the Chinese, like all these people who are lifting massive weights, it's very rare you'll see them do more than 3 reps of anything.
And you know what's not rare? It's not rare that they have no muscle. Have you not seen some of these elite level Olympic lifters? You're picking out a single demographic of guys that have horrible genetics for putting a lot of size on, but have amazing genetics for strength due to whatever genetic components they have. And you're not mentioning that many Olympic lifters have a shit ton of muscle. They're jacked. They look incredible. They're shredded. They look like bodybuilders. And yet they're only training like Olympic lifters. And so which is it? Can it be that if you lift heavy, you can actually build muscle and strength? Or does it have to be whatever Ryan Fisher thinks? I mean, after all, this is the same guy that said if you can't squat double your body weight, that you're not a real man. So although I can't find this video because I watched it 30 minutes ago and I don't know how to use the internet, but I heard the guy say it.
Just a side note, you should not be able to call yourself a man unless you can squat double your body weight, because their goal is to be as small as possible and as strong as possible.
And so technically, not all of their goals are to be as small as possible. Case in point, just mentioned the guy, he competed at 81 kilograms, now he's moving up to 89. Oftentimes, they compete in smaller weight classes, and as they get older, they put on more muscle, from lifting heavy, sets below 5. They add on so much muscle, they can no longer make that weight class, and they move up. And so the more muscle you have, the more you can lift. It's not just the goal to be emaciated. The smaller you are, the more you can lift in comparison. Sometimes it helps to build muscle. Sometimes, even if you're a power lifter or an Olympic lifter, your goal is actually to put on muscle. And so over time, power lifters, Olympic lifters, even though they're mostly lifting heavy, perhaps they're doing 5 sets of 2, 5 sets of 3, whatever, but they're gaining muscle mass because that's how it works. And so regardless of the repetition range that you're choosing, if you train hard and you progressive overload, you train harder than last time, and with the proper diet, nutrition, and so on, you are going to put on muscle. This is so dumb, comparing Olympic lifters to bodybuilders and saying the difference is in the rep range. The use is just idiotic. Exactly. I mean, the first comment alone is saying that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. How is this dumb? He's exactly right. I mean, how am I supposed to argue with stupidity? I mean, how do I do it? The only thing dumber than arguing with an idiot is being the idiot arguing with the idiot. He is not right at all. It is genetics. Some guys grow, others just get strong. Some people grow and get strong, and there are people that neither get that strong or grow. Exactly. Some people are going to train perfectly all the time, hardly put on any muscle, hardly put on any strength. Some people go to the gym, hardly do anything, half-ass everything, and they gain a ton of muscle and a lot of strength. Genetics, people. It's crazy how much people underplay the genetic card. It is so much to do with your genetics. Training and all of this, of course, it has to be optimized if you want to look your best. But if you don't have the genetics and you do everything else perfectly, you're not going to be an Olympian champion, nor are you setting records in powerlifting. The Olympic weightlifters look tiny because they are tiny. The bigger guys lift bigger weights pretty much every time. And so there are a ton of weight classes. And so if you pick the lightest weight class, say 120 pounds, of course you're going to be small and lift a lot of weights. But if you look up the weight classes, super heavyweight, you really think those guys don't have a lot of muscle? They're over 3.
Turn on Strava, because if you don't turn this on, basically your entire bike ride doesn't count at all.
Isn't it ironic? We live in a society where this is actually true. Some people feel like if you can't share what you did, that it doesn't actually count. Now, he's probably joking, but many of you feel this. If you're out there with your friends and you didn't take a photo, you didn't post it on Instagram, did you actually experience what you did? If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, did it actually make a sound? And so if you actually went for a bike ride, did cardio, lifted weights, hung out with your friends, had a good time, and you didn't post and talk about it, did you actually have a good time? Did you actually hang out with your friends? Many people in today's society, I don't think they did.
All right, this is the only part I don't like about riding a road bike. Sometimes the cars are a little bit scary.
And so the cars are a little bit scary as I ride the bike with one arm with my GoPro in the other arm on a traffic-ridden road, driving all over the place. Is this really the place that we should be recording when there's dangerous amounts of traffic, riding a bike with one arm? I think that's pretty risky. And so he rode 24 miles in an hour and 33 minutes, averaging 15 miles an hour, so relatively slow pace. But hey, he's not out there racing hard than last time. Probably a zone 2 comfortable ride.
My favorite part of the bike ride, eating all the food.
Notice what he said at the end. The favorite part of the bike ride is eating the food at the end. Really? Is that really your favorite part of the bike ride? Are we only riding bikes so that we can eat? I mean, if you're trying to get in shape and healthy, does it really matter how much food you get to eat after? I would have loved to have heard the favorite part of the bike ride was getting the bike out, was feeling that fresh air, the sights, the water, the bridge. There were so many things that could have been the favorite part of this bike ride. And so I'm disappointed to see that his favorite part of the bike ride is stopping and ending it and going to eat. Don't like that. And so perhaps he actually does have body dysmorphia. Why is the favorite part of his bike ride eating after it's all over? And so if you only do cardio to burn off fat, to burn off calories, that to me, it's a little saddening. I'm still happy you're doing it, but you should also enjoy it. You should love it. And so my opinion, your favorite part of exercising should be the exercise itself, not what you get to do after the exercise. And so considering this guy is going on bike rides, he absolutely could be bringing a snack with him. A Seco protein bar. They taste absolutely amazing, delicious, incredible, and very low in calories. Also, cardio. If you're into cardio and you lift weights, how could you not take GO2 Max? The main ingredient, NMN, shown in double-blind, placebo-controlled human studies to make a significant difference in your cardiovascular abilities. Become a better butter burner. More energy, burn more calories, increase NEAT. You're going to have a much easier time losing weight if you're on GO2 Max. Interested in any of these supplements or the cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, all those things, please head over to my website, code Greg, 10% off. And of course, if you don't have any money, it's okay. Head over to my website, given a free diet and training program, close to 50 pages. That's a lot, and it's free. Enter your first and last name and email address. It's coming straight to you. No charge whatsoever. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, like the video if you in fact liked it, watch one of those 2 bloops, and until next time, I am out.